How we doing, fam? Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Happy shoot. What is today? Wednesday? Today is the Wednesday. I always have to pronounce it like that in my head when I'm thinking of how to spell it. Wednesday. Wednesday. But yeah, welcome back, guys. Happy Wednesday. Happy continued dip day. Happy, you know, happy week, man. See, we already got Cade. We got Darren in the house. What's up, guys? We got some other people coming in. We got the tweets going. Shoot, let me send it out in this group. I have no idea what is going on with X chat right now, though. Yo, it is tripping right now. Database version is newer than the app. What does that even mean? Just take me to x.com. We'll figure it out over there. Yeah, so something weird going on. It's not letting me enter the X messages right now, the chat messages. So maybe that'll correct itself here in a bit. But for now, it looks like we are live. We should be good on YouTube. Let's double check here. Yeah. Good on the tubes. Good on X. See you guys coming through. Yeah, welcome back, guys. Look, we got more continued conversation and content here this week with just the continued drop in BTC and across the market here, the crypto market. Although some things are holding up pretty dang well, so we'll talk about some of that too. I think we'll spend a little more time on some of the alt discussion today and not go so heavy on BTC. We'll cover Bitcoin briefly as we're kind of looking for some bounces here. We're close to some key levels, so we'll get into some of that. Let me pull up my trading view and get that prepped here. Where are you, trading view? Where are you? Here you are. Let's move that out the way. Yeah. Okay. Let me switch screens here. And look, we'll jump into it, guys. As always, everything we're going to cover today, this entire show really is none of this is meant to be financial advice, guys. It's not for you guys to take it as any kind of recommendation or suggestion to buy, to sell, to long, to short, any of that. We're just covering these charts purely from an educational perspective here on just how to read some of this price action, how to identify key levels, learning about the way these charts move, the way liquidity moves, all of that. Honestly, I say this all the time, but we could be looking at these charts without knowing any of the tickers and nothing really changes. So there's no bias here. There's no agenda. We're not trying to shill or push anything. We're just here just for the education. And some of you guys might be here for the entertainment. Maybe you're just here to get a laugh, and and that's fine as well. We welcome you as well. So happy to have you guys here. I got my coffee. I got my electrolytes. Let me put my phone to charge really quick. Catch a quick charge on the phone while we're streaming here. We got the chat open. We got the tweets out. X chat's not working, but we'll make do. And looks like we're ready to rock and roll. Once again, shout out to Public for helping us, do these shows and for sponsoring the show here for us. You can check them out, public.com/wolf. Go take a look what they're doing over there on Public. I think you'll be surprised, especially if you're into the AI narrative and you appreciate the ability to do some AI strategies with your portfolio. So go check them out, public.com/wolf. Darren says order flow footprint has been moving mad. The last 3 or 4 day shorts are getting away, shorting recklessly. Yeah, and that'll flip, man. You know how we know this, right? It'll flip at some point here. I think we're getting closer. This is the idea I was kind of and still am, right? I'm still kind of considering this idea here. Let's maybe give a little more clarity to why I'm looking for something like this. So, and look, this could be a wider range. I just drew right here, right below these support levels. But basically, this is where the volume profile drops out of fair value and goes here into the low area where it just significantly starts dropping off. I mean, you can see this, right? Volume just completely drops off. We had a significant bounce back here in late March, early April for BTC right off of this level. And you also had a couple moves down into this area here as support back in early March. And this is a key zone. So we know there's going to be some liquidity stacked below here. Could you get a cascading move that continues lower? Yes, there are still more lows to the downside to be targeted here, so certainly could be the case. But I'm watching the possibility of a sweep down below these lows, and then a potential reclaim of previous day low. This is basically going to be my strategy until we find the bottom. Is I'm going to look for the next key level, right? The next key zone, key area, key liquidity pocket. And I'm gonna zoom out to the daily, right? I'm gonna look at the daily chart, and I'm going to, let me hide this really quickly. I'm gonna look at the daily, and I'm gonna say, okay, where was the previous day low? And I'm just gonna say, okay, this was the low of yesterday. Here we are today. And if we sweep a key level and get back above the previous day's low, I'm looking for some potential upside, right? Now, this is going to be the same framework I'm going to use until we find a low. So if today's daily candle closes lower than the previous day, right? If this comes down here and closes down here, then same thing. When the new daily candle opens, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say, okay, where was the low of the previous day? I'm going to say, okay, that was the low of the previous day. Like assuming this candle comes down like this, right? Like if this candle comes down, I'm going to say, okay, what was the low of the previous day? And I'm just going to repeat this exact same strategy, because that's what's going to be that's really what's going to be the signal for me. Is I want to see at some point we'll get a daily reversal and a new daily candle will reclaim the previous day's range. And I'm just gonna play that until it falls. I'm not bidding. I'm not trying to catch a falling knife here. So I'm not longing this yet. The criteria for me again is like, we've got, so what's left in the daily candle today? Almost 6 hours. 5 hours. Excuse me. Man, that came out of nowhere. 5 hours and 45 minutes. So almost just shy of 6 hours is left here in this daily candle. So, essentially what I'm looking for is, okay, sometime during this US session before the end of the daily, the daily close here, I'm looking for a potential sweep lower. And if it can reclaim the previous day low, which is right here, if it can reclaim that, then, we might be in business. There may be something happening there. So let's see if that happens. I mean, for something like this to happen today, the reclaim would need to happen prior to the session end here. So this would have to be a pretty prompt move. You'd want to see this kind of come and happen here in the next few hours to give at least a couple hours to try and get that reclaim in before the end of the session. If this doesn't happen today, that just means today gets a lower close, and then we're looking for the reversal tomorrow, and then we keep looking until it comes. At some point, it'll come. So we just got to be patient. Just got to stay patient, guys. Darren says we ain't going up until spot buys come back in decently. Yep. They do locally squeeze out some shorts on bounces, but nothing substantial yet. Agreed. What's up, Will? Yeah, and this has been one of the big reasons why I keep the buy sell volume open when I'm looking at stuff like this. I mean, we've had some moments like this right here, but it didn't sustain, and I'm just not seeing the kind of bottoming volume that gets me interested yet, which is why I continue to look. We were really talking about this even from back here, right? We were saying like, look, there's a lot of red hits to the downside, boom, boom, boom. But the buy volume isn't larger than the sell volume, which tells us that there's still larger sell pressure than there is buy. Sure, like you have little moments, but they're just not holding up. You have another little moment here, it's not holding up, right? We had another one here where it marked here on exhaustion, but no volume, right? We just continue to see that boom, big red sells, big red, big hits, right? All of the hits to the downside are on massive sell volume. even here, right, which was the last time that it tried to reverse, you did see this, like this is what I like to see. Here, let me maximize that. I do like to see, like for a bottom, I do like to see what you see here and what you see here, which is you want a big hit of red sell volume followed by engulfing buy volume. But the problem is even the buy volume here is not bigger than the prior sell volume. So it's still not there. When this thing is bottomed, I want to see a God candle green like that. I mean, I want to see a huge buy vol spike at the bottom. And we just don't have it. We don't have it yet. It's exactly what Darren's talking about. You'll see it on the lower time frames, but it should be evident even on like the 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour. You should see a big spike of green volume, and we just don't have it, guys. We don't have it at all anywhere in here. It's not there. It's just not there. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting for a combination of price action to sweep, key levels to move into areas that I'm watching, and a combination of waiting for a volume confirmation. It's not there. It's not there. I'm not, when I share things like this, right? Like an expectation of let's see if it sweeps and reclaim. I'm not calling that this is absolutely going to happen. And I'm also not saying buy a move lower. I'm also not saying that. When I share these, a lot of times if I'm going to take a move like this, I end up participating on the upside after the move has been done. Why? Because I'm waiting for the sell volume capitulation to happen. I'm waiting for the green volume to come up and basically move price up. And I'm waiting for price to shift structure. So I end up participating up here, but like I'm looking for something like this, right? All of this needs to happen for me to even get interested in potentially getting long. So yeah, it's too early. It's still way too early. Darren says red, green, VEX, commonly called railroad tracks. Vector volume reversal will be the sign, but I'm looking lower time frame, maybe 1 to 4 hours to snipe a better entry. Yeah, exactly, dude, for sure, man. Will BTC to the 50s in the coming weeks, dude? It can. I mean, there's a lot of reason. I mean, you go look at let's look at the monthly on BTC really quickly. I mean, it's let me hide that arrow, clean it up. The monthly is definitely saying that there's some, there's pressure to the downside, right? There's definitely sell side pressure here for sure. For sure. Right. But it doesn't mean it has to go straight through immediately. You could get a short-term bounce. The bounce I'm possibly looking for, if it happens, again, this doesn't look like it needs to happen. It really doesn't. This here looks like it. I mean, just invert it, right? If you were to invert this chart, would you be getting in front of that? Like, would you be getting in front of that? Not necessarily, right? You're like, nah, this thing is wanting to go. And actually, this makes it pretty clear, right? You've got one impulsive move, a correction. Second impulsive move, a correction. There's no reason why there's not a third impulsive leg still coming up, probably up. I mean, this is where I'm looking, right? And that's 50K, a little bit under 50K. This right here looks pretty clean from just a non-biased point of view. You invert this Bitcoin weekly chart. There's clearly one big impulsive move, sideways corrective period. Another impulsive move, another sideways corrective period. There should be a third impulsive move coming, right? This can go, I don't know how high it's going to go. It could go maybe just slightly above that. It can go, above this kilo here at 49. It could stretch. It could stretch a little more. It could stretch if it wanted to, but this definitely looks to me like there's another leg coming. But in this process, this doesn't mean that it doesn't, here, somewhere around here, first do a little bit of a cool off and then go. It certainly could do that as well. I mean, it would actually kind of look like a little bit of like a little cup and handle, and then it goes. I mean, that could happen as well, right? So we're just going to play it day by day. We're going to let the chart tell the story, tell us what's coming next. But yeah, that to me, I mean, that looks like it's calling for down here, man. It's calling for down there. If we were to get a bounce though, in the short term, all right, let's say let's say what I'm looking at here in the short term, something like this does play out, right? And it does come up here and it can reclaim some of this key structure here. Then I'm probably looking up here at like last week's low. I'm probably looking at like last week's low as a target for a bounce, right? And at that point up here, there may be another short opportunity. I don't know that the market's going to be that generous to give us a bounce all the way up here. But if it were, right, if it were to work its way up here, this might be where that next hit ends up happening, is somewhere up here near 72. That's last week's low. That's where I would be personally looking. I don't think it goes much further than that. 50% of the previous week is right here. Maybe at most you get up near that 50% of previous week. I don't think we see last week's high. I really don't, up here at 78. I don't think we see that anymore. I think we could have seen 78 if we would have caught a bounce here at about 70, 74, 75. We didn't get that bounce. We didn't get that bounce here. We didn't get the continuation at 74, 75. So I think a move up here is more unlikely now than it was before. But something like this could definitely happen. Something like this where if it bounces, right, if here in the next day or two we get a bounce from here, it sweeps, cleans up, reclaims, heads higher, I think there's a chance it goes low 70s once again. I'd be very, very cautious into previous week low. I'd be extremely cautious into 50% of last week. And if by some miracle we're up here near previous week high, which I doubt it, I'd be, man, all eyes glued to that chart for sure. For sure, guys. Let's see here. We've seen all the LARPs losing their because sailors sold BT. Dude. Well, I think it's so funny that they think the market's convinced that sailors selling the 32 Bitcoin or whatever is what caused it to roll over, right? But if that's what caused it to roll over, then why were we here on these streams for the last month or two, right? And truthfully, back through like Feb, we were talking about a move up to 80, right, for a rejection off the previous range low. We talked about this back in Feb. We said, look, this thing can come up here into the 80s and essentially turn the floor into a ceiling and then have the move lower, right? We talked about this. So, did I have a crystal ball that predicted that Sailor was going to sell 32 BTC and that's why we rolled over? No, it has nothing to do with it. The Sailor selling the BTC was just, it happened to be timed with the chart being where the chart needed to be, man. It's so weird, huh? And you know this. I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to the audience that's listening. But newbies are always looking for a narrative, man. When newbies come into this market, they always want that narrative because their mind doesn't understand the chart, right? They don't have the understanding of how a market like this moves. They don't understand auction market theory. They don't understand bid versus ask. They don't understand supply versus demand. They don't understand any of that. So their brain has to go to, okay, what news pumped it? What news dumped it? And it's like, sure, there's some validity to that, right? There's some validity to that, yeah, when there's good news and bad news, the market reacts to that. But most of the time, a lot of this is already priced in. And those of you that tune into this stuff, you already know, right? If you're in the market, you've been around the market, you've been like Darren, you've been active, you already know this, man. You know that there's always going to be some narrative that's going to come back and try and justify or explain why the chart did what it did, even though people were talking about it freaking weeks and months ahead of time with zero foresight of the news things that were going to be coming out and the headlines that were going to be coming out. Yeah, what's up, Kent? Good morning. So just don't get too caught up in that, guys. There's always going to be some narrative. There's always going to be some story, some tale for you to point at and say, this is why that happened. But this is why I stick to the charts, man. I just play the charts. I try and look to understand the levels, the liquidity, and play that. Because I don't know what the news is going to be tomorrow, but I know what the levels are, right? So I stick to that. And it's not, this stuff isn't, it's not 100% hit rate. Sometimes the charts do things that, are more extreme than what you thought, but the levels are the levels. The levels are still the levels. That's where we pay attention to. So let's see what happens here. Stablecoin dominance is still pushing up. I think if stablecoins, like, this is part of the reason why I'm also thinking that there's a sweep or a potential reversal here, is if stables, get one last push up today going into tonight, and then it starts coming back down and it ends up just being a quick sweep of the high here on stables, right? Quick little failed rally. And then we start seeing it come back down. We've now got clear structure. You've now got clear structure right here, right? Very, very clear off of that last swing low. If this starts coming back down and it breaks, number one, if we push up outside of this and then we start coming back into this range with some speed here on stablecoin dominance, right? So if we see a big high volume push up, and it would have to be a high volume push, I'll be watching here. I want a nice green or blue candle that pushes up here. Boom, big high volume. And then if you get a high volume sell off back below this high, back into the range, that's the signal. That's the trigger to be paying attention and to potentially be jumping in to participate on a move back in. And then the confirmation is, as this starts dropping back through the range, once you lose these lows here, yeah, then you're thinking, okay, this thing is heading lower, right? At that point, you lose these lows, you're potentially looking for something like this, where your invalidation is going to be up here above whatever that high ends up being, right? But definitely above the range. And you're looking to take this back down either to a prior high or potentially back here to this, which would now likely be support here, right? You'd have this big area here to kind of be watching. So something like that maybe, right? And if stables are doing this, then that means Bitcoin's doing the opposite and Bitcoin's running the other way. Bitcoin's trying to make a move up while stables are pulling back. So this would be the potential move to the downside for stables. Again, we don't know. We don't know yet, but we have clear structure that we can look at here that gives us a framework to work off of. You've got a high that you want to see a move above that high. And if it comes back below it, you're cautious. And you've got a clear low here, clear swing low, that if this for some reason goes up, breaches the high, doesn't catch, doesn't stick, doesn't catch a continued bid up there, starts coming back down. Once you lose this, man, you're being cautious here, because even if it were to come back up somewhere, likely at this point, this is heading lower. Invalidation becomes the top of whatever move we end up getting. Target becomes back here down at confirmed prior support, basically. So, let's see if we get it. Yeah, what's up, ETF tracker in the house? So let's keep an eye on that. You just got to understand your structure, understand what validates and invalidates these ideas. That's all that is. I don't know what's going to happen, right? No one does. No one does. But I'm watching that, and I really would like a sweep up there, man. Give me a sweep that'll kind of align with, that'll align with a sweep to the downside on BTC, and then if it can reclaim, we're in business. If it doesn't, we know that there's better levels to the downside with more liquidity, and we wait. We just chill. Cool. But that pretty much covers BTC, guys. Like I said, I don't think we're going to spend a whole lot of time on it. This pretty much, we looked at the monthly. Monthly still looks bearish as hell. We look at 4 hour. We have a game plan there. And then on the 15-minute, we kind of know what we're looking for here in combination with a potential failed auction here to the upside on stablecoin, if that ends up happening. So one more push. And then if it fails, we're paying attention here to BTC. Moving over to ETH BTC, we talked about this yesterday. It is back below that Feb low, right? We said that really for us to get bullish here is we want to see that daily or weekly close, definitely a weekly close. Must also close the month above that Feb low. So we'd be looking, we still have, 26 days or something like that in the month, but we would want to get a month to close above that Feb low as well for a big move on ETH BTC to even be possible. To even be likely, right? So a lot of work, but the first step is I'd like to see a daily reclaim of that Feb low, followed by a weekly reclaim. And we're not getting it yet. The daily, you can see here, daily tried, failed, big rejection off of that. So at some point, we want to get that up there, and then it'll print a nice, beautiful weekly if we can get it here in the next 4 days. So let's see if we can get that. If that happens, this is kind of the scenario we talked about for Ethereum, which is if BTC is getting a bounce here sometime sooner than later, if ETH comes down, sweeps this previous quarter low, we'll pay attention. We'll pay attention for a sweep and a reclaim. If it could do that, there's some target. We'll take profits on the way up. There's, this would be like this is like my dream setup, I guess you could say, for Ethereum, right? So this is like the ideal setup that I would want. Doesn't mean I'm going to get it. If this sweeps and starts going up, we'll be cautious at previous month low. We'll definitely take profits at previous month high. We'll peel a lot of whatever's left at previous quarter high, if it even could go that high. And if for whatever reason it comes back up here near these highs, we definitely are locking that in. So this is more of a wish setup. It's a dream setup. It's what I would love to see as an ideal setup like this. I don't know if I'm going to get it. This would require ETH BTC to reclaim. This would require Bitcoin at some point to find a low and start going either sideways or sideways and up. So there's a lot of criteria here. We are, if we go back to Bitcoin dominance, though, we are still seeing Bitcoin dominance just absolutely melting. So if Bitcoin dominance continues to just melt, and this is BTC dominance minus stable dominance, right? So I remove stables from this. If we see this continue melting, I'm paying even more attention to that ETH dominance and ETH BTC chart, because this is just rolling over right now. And we've seen this where, stable dominance is pumping, stable liquidity is pumping. You're seeing this melt, but you're also seeing things like Total 3 do a little bit of short-term outperformance, right? And even others here doesn't look that great, right? So others itself doesn't look that great. But if you start zooming out, others on here, let's see if we can refresh this. So others on a quarterly is definitely, getting a little bit of green this quarter so far. We've got about a month left in the quarter. I like this type of reversal here. If it sticks, I think that has room to the upside. And specifically, if we look at others BTC, you guys know I really like this chart, right? So we're still seeing others outperforming against Bitcoin. So others BTC is catching a nice little run to the upside. I think as long as this remains strong and healthy, there's still room. There's still room up to this upper target. There's about 35 to 40% to the top, which means we are going to continue to see coins like some of these that are just, look at these moves, right? Look at XPL here on the day, just on the day, nice fat candle, right? You're seeing a lot of these. You're seeing, look at this one, OPN. This is happening. This is happening because of this chart here. This others chart is showing us that liquidity is still flowing into these. We talked about WorldCoin. Look at WorldCoin, right? We caught this pullback here on WorldCoin. We talked about this pullback. Took that. Look how that's doing today. Look how it's doing this week. So we're still seeing this, guys. We're still seeing 30, 40, 50, 100%, 200% moves on the shit coins. Let's just call it for what it is. It is the shit coins. It's not the quality. We're not seeing ETH move. We're not seeing XRP, Litecoin, Solana. We're not seeing SWI. We're not seeing Cardano. We're seeing the shit coins. We're seeing the shit coins. The names that I have to look up to see what are they and what do they even do, because I don't know what they are. These are the ones that we're seeing big pumps on. Look at all the volume coming in here to ENA. This is what, Athena, I think. Look at the volume coming into that. Look at this one. Still moving up, man. AR caught a killer trade on this one. It's just moving. Yeah, so this, look, continued bid, right? The entry was the pullback. Look at here's JTO, right? This trade, if you took it on the pullback, or even if you take it on a break up here, like let's say you're going to take it on a break higher up here, invalidation is below that low, right? You're targeting up here. That's still almost a 5.5 R trade. Sure, it's 42% to the downside. You do have to be careful here, but for a 237% return, is not bad. And look, if you were to take that trade, you could probably clean this up a little bit. You could probably clean it up a little bit here, and make that look better over time. Especially once it starts breaking out higher, you can tidy that up. Put a like a chasing, a trend following stop on that right there. So I don't know, man. Alts Alts are still looking interesting to me. It's not a blanket alt season. I've said this many times in the last few days. It's not a just blanket throw anything, throw money at anything and it's all going to run. We're not in that environment. We're not in that environment. But we are in an environment where things that we talked about back in March and April made pretty much the full moves that we had talked about. Pretty much the entire move. I don't even have it on here. But we were looking for this one to sweep. The Allo was one of the one we said, look, let's just sweep the lows of this consolidation right here, which it did. And then full send. Shared this one in the DM group. Some of the guys probably got in on Allo. Man, and these are massive moves. These are massive moves, 330%. Massive moves. And again, others BTC tells us that this is likely to continue, right? We're at a key area here where if we do reject here, then that's probably it for now. But if it could keep going up here, and to me, looking at the 3-month chart and the 6-month chart looks juicy. Looking at this 6-month chart for others BTC, this tells me that it's more likely to head up here to the upside and potentially even higher. This to me looks really, really bullish for others BTC. This 6-month chart looks really bullish for others BTC. And then when I look at just if I come over here and I just look at others dominance, for example, also on the 6-month, others dominance is also just off the charts flying. I think money's going to keep flowing into the shitcoins. Based on everything that I'm seeing, I think money keeps flowing into the shitcoins. I don't know why. I'm just telling you, man, that thing just looks bullish right now. Bullish right now. Ryan got in on Athena. 0.06, dude. Sweet. So, yeah, I'm just seeing it, man. I'm just seeing it across all these charts, Ondo's probably going to keep going. Right there. That looks pretty good. If Ondo did come down and sweep for whatever reason, took out these lows here, I'd be looking for that. Yeah, I'd be looking for that. They just look good, man. They just look good. AGLD is another one we've looked at as well. Just took the lows, actually. We'll see if that gets the follow through. Aster, I'm kind of waiting. Aster needs to do something similar to Allo. Okay. Aster is like over here. Aster is here compared to Allo. It needs to take the lows and then it's going to have a moment just like this. Same exact thing. Aster is going to do the same exact thing. It's just, it's too soon here. Let's see if we got a bars pattern. Like you need this. You need this move here. Let's copy it. Let's go to Aster. Where did I see the Aster chart? Aster. Paste. Okay. This is what needs to happen here on Aster. Aster needs to take these lows, right? It needs to lose this consolidation zone here, right? Needs to take it. Again, I think this low sticks. Yes, it's a big, it's a big area down. But if we're looking at Aster on a quarterly chart, right? Granted, you only have, you're on your 3rd quarter of data here. That looks like a bottom to me. In my opinion, this is the play here, right? Like something like that is possible. If you only get to here, so be it, right? But something like this, and then once you get that sweep down, this gets tidied up, right? This gets tidied up here. Let's go back into the daily. Like once we get that sweep down, and we're waiting. This is why we're waiting, because we don't have it yet. You need that big sweep. But once this move to the downside happens, right? And maybe you can even get a better entry on it. Once that happens here, this cleans up the downside. As it's reclaiming this range, right? As it's coming back into this range with some speed, your stop can now confidently go below wherever that sweep is. Your stop goes below wherever that is. Whether that sweeps there or it comes significantly lower, you put it below wherever that sweep ends up being, right? And then that's your invalidation, is below that big sell-off. And you get in somewhere here on a reclaim of this range, on some momentum, or you wait for a break of these highs on to get a better structure entry, whatever. You're gonna get in on this somewhere, right? You'll have to make your own decisions on that, and then you're gonna shoot for the highs. You're gonna shoot up here, and it's gonna be a beautiful trade. It's gonna be a beautiful, beautiful trade. But you gotta wait. This right now, what it's doing is it's basically getting out all the people that aren't willing to wait for this trade. That's what's happening right now, right? You're getting people to close out, to leave and forget about it. There'll be this last flush, this big washout of leverage and of people that are over leveraged that have been basically long in this entire time here, right? And then it'll send. But we got to wait for it. We got to wait for it. We don't play now. We wait till that move happens, man. Node operator says, am I still in BTC shorts? Yep. I've still got a short, a partial. Still got a partial position open right now. I have TP'd. I TP'd last night. And I do have a partial still. But, yeah, we're just chilling on that, man. Partial short still open. I'm commenting here. Oh no, go back. Hold on here. No. Why does it do that? Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with my X. I might have to reboot the browser after this stream. Yeah, I can't see my DMs right now for some reason. Let me check them on my phone, maybe. You guys following though? Is this stuff making sense to you guys that are watching? Let me know. Let me know if this is making sense. Because I haven't had a comment in a little while, and I don't know if maybe am I speaking to myself? Is this making any kind of sense at all to anyone? Is there any value in me talking about this stuff? Let me know. Will says he hears me loud and clear. All right, man. All right. You know what's interesting is like I used to jump on sessions much like this, right? But from the listener's perspective, with just previous mentors and coaches that have, been part of me learning and figuring some of this stuff out. And I just would be sitting there just listening to them. And at times it felt like they were just telling me the same thing week after week after week, because they'd cover the strategy and they'd go like, you're waiting for this, you're looking for this, you don't take action until this happens. Their stop loss is your end, like all the stuff that we know. And they just, every week it was the same thing. And you would just hear it over and over and over. And at some point though, you just had that aha moment where it just clicked and you're like, yeah, they're right. It just makes sense. They're absolutely right. And so it's funny how that works. And now I'm kind of like just repeating. I'm like, none of this stuff that I share is my discovery. I'm a learn, do, teach kind of guy, right? I learn something, I start doing it, I implement it, and then I just naturally want to teach or share it with someone. That's just how my brain works. The teaching and the sharing helps me become better at it, because it just locks it in, it solidifies everything. Like it just finishes putting the finishing touches on it, right, for me. And it helps keep me accountable, sharpens me up a little bit. So I'm a learn, do, teach kind of guy. But none of the stuff that I share with you guys is my, my discovery or my grand thesis that I'm. This is stuff I learned from other legends in the space that I was just fortunate, to be able to be in their groups, to have some of their time, to have crossroads with them, and so I like to pass it along. I just like to pass it along, man. It's it's just that what's the word for that? Like the giving back, right? A bit of a giving back there. So, yeah. Do I think USDT Dominance looks similar to December of 2022. Well, I mean, let's go look at it. I will tell you that I don't really look at the standard tether dominance. I do this combo chart. And so from the reason I do the combo chart with Tether and USDC, so I basically do this. Like I look at USDT.D plus USDC.D, right? And the way you would build that is you come here, you go USDT.D, and then you hit plus USDC.D, and then that'll build you the chart. If you want to be really clean about it, you click on each one. So I can click or tap on the Tether one first, and I select which one I want. In this case, I want the CryptoCap one. Let's just see what happens if I just hit enter. Okay, if you hit enter, it's going to automatically do it. So you don't have to go through that extra step. So you just go USDT.D plus USDC.D, hit enter, and it's going to build you this chart with both of them combined. Now, why, in my opinion, is it important that you combine these like this as opposed to, let's do this, for example. Let's actually do this. I'm going to go to a split chart, and on this side, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do on this side, I'm going to do that USDT.D plus USDC.D. Okay, so I'm going to do that combo chart that I had right here. Okay. And on the other side, on this side, we're just going to do USDT.D, just tether dominance. Okay. And then we're gonna look at them both side by side. Okay. We're going to put both of them on the monthly. And I'm going to turn off Dev Engine Oz's indicator so we can just look at just the charts. Okay. Now, automatically, you should see a difference between these two. Automatically, you should see a difference. And it's not just the percentage on the scale, right? One of these is closer to a previous high than the other one. This one, Tether alone, is just 14% away from an all-time high, whereas the combo chart is 40% away from an all-time high. Now, why is that? Why is that? This is a good exercise for this to wrap up this stream here. Why is that? Because Tether, just a few years ago, used to be 80% or more of all stablecoin value and volume. Almost everything was in Tether, right? Since then, we've had Binance has launched a stablecoin. PayPal has launched a stablecoin. Obviously, you have Circle, USDC's stablecoin. You have a bunch of other stables that have come out since then, which means that Tether no longer represents all stablecoin liquidity. It's actually only about 50 to 60% of all stablecoin liquidity right now. Right? USDC is like 40 to 50% now. Circle, USDC is 40 to 50% of all stablecoin liquidity. So if you only look at Tether alone, you're only looking at 50%, maybe 60% at best, but closer to 50%. You're only looking at about 50% of the story, 50% of the liquidity, 50% of what's actually happening in stables by looking at Tether alone. When you look at the combo chart, USDT plus USDC.D combo, you're getting closer to almost a 90% picture of what's happening there. Now, this is why it's important. This is the key, the absolute key of why you can't look at this alone. Is Tether printed at the exact same 1-for-1 ratio as USDC? Meaning when they mint a brand new $1 in USDC, is there $1 in Tether printed at the same time? The answer is no. Right? The answer is no. US markets are printing significantly more USDC than USDT because Coinbase, all the institutions are heavily using USDC and not USDT. The rest of the world is using USDT, right? The global economy is using Tether, but the US is heavily in USDC. So that means that USDC's share of this pie, of this larger pie, USDC's share can go up over time, which means that as USDC's dominance grows, you might see Tether dominance go down because Tether owns less of the stablecoin market while USDC gains more of the stablecoin market. So the risk there is that you can get on the Tether one alone, you can get a false negative. You could get downside or you can get sideways where you think, ooh, people are going into stables, right? Or people are moving out of stables, going back into crypto. No, they're not. They're moving out of Tether into USDC, or money's moving out of Bitcoin into USDC, but not into Tether. You get what I'm saying, right? So it's the ratios are skewed now. Now you have to look at both. So in my opinion, if you're not combining both USDT plus USDC, you're getting a partial picture. Yes, the price action is similar. Like this is doing the similar price action here, right? But over here, you think you're about to top out. You're like, man, there's only a little bit left, and then that's it. That's the bottom for the bear market. No, that's going to do this here, and you're still going to have all of this above that it can go to, and this is going to fake you out. What I suspect is going to happen, and this is just my thesis, we'll see if it plays out correctly or not. What I suspect is going to happen, because there's a lot of people that are looking at just Tether dominance, and they're like, oh yeah, like this is the bear market low. It's going to happen right here. The bear market low is going to happen just above this. Well, what's going to end up happening is this is going to absolutely rip well above where they thought it was going to turn around. And the reason for that is because on the combo chart, there is still a lot of room until the true top. There's a lot of room until this true top up here. A lot more than this is telling you. This is making people think that you're close to a top, aka a bottom in the crypto liquidity. This is telling you that it's not, and people aren't taking into account that. So yeah, it's like you could look at Tether back in the day on its own when it represented 80 to 90% of all stablecoin liquidity. You can't do that now. This is like 50% of the story. This is where the truth is happening over here. If you're not looking at this one, man, you're close to getting faked out. You're close. We're very close to making you think that the top is in for this thing, and it's got so much more upside still. So much more upside. So, so comparing it to December of 2022, I don't know. Let's go look at it. December of 2022. When would that have been? Up here? No, I don't think we're anywhere near this. I don't think we're anywhere near December of 2022. I mean, if you're thinking that this is just going to like double top here is what you're basically saying, that this is going to do like that. If you're looking at this chart alone, I could see why you would say that. But over here, December of 2022, you still got some room, buddy. The real top was significantly higher. But it was because since then, right? Think about this. Ever since we got institutions playing, and since USDC became a thing, there's been a lot more USDC printed than there has been Tether printed, right? USDC is catching up to Tether, and it's going to take over at some point, in my opinion. So yeah, I don't think you're getting the full story if you're just looking at this. And if you think we're close to this, I think you're in for a surprise, in my opinion. The combo chart says there's a lot more room to the upside. A lot more. Let me back out all of this and put it back how I had it. I think we're close here. Hold on here. There we go. And let's go back to, where is it? The one with the 4. There we go. There we go, folks. There we go. There we go. Let me know if that makes sense, by the way, though. And that's why I combine them. Let me know if that makes sense. That's the cycle. Hear it, see it, believe it, do it. It's extremely helpful. Yeah, man. Yeah. Do I look at total 2 yes and total 3 yes? Yeah, 100%. 100% I do. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you know what's interesting, Darren, is someone had asked the other day about, because I was looking at others, right, and others BTC and others dominance and why it's pumping. To me, like, these things are pumping. They're looking great. And they were telling me, oh, you know what? It's probably because of Hyperliquid. And I believed it, like on initial take. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But others excludes the top 10. Hype is currently like number 7 or 8. So Hype isn't making up any of this. It's not Hype. It's not Ethereum. It's not Solana. It's not XRP. It's not It's not the top 10. It's not USDT. It's not USDC. This is already excluding stables, right? This is the shit. This is what it is. The shit. The coins that have nothing, that are just speculative, is what's pumping. Crazy, huh? The USDT, USDX has high quality alpha. Oh, I appreciate that, dude. Yeah. It's dude, that's why I preach, like, you have to be combining them both. If you're looking at stablecoin dominance, you got to combine them. If you're just looking at one, you're leaving out. I mean, it's like half the story. You have half the information, man. You're going to get a false positive or a false negative one of these days when that skew between USDT and USDC shifts, right? When there's more USDC, USDT drops. When there's more USDT, USDC drops. So you can't just look at them individually. You got to combo them, man. Hold on. Let me make sure there's not an upcoming. Sometimes there's an upcoming show and I got to jump off. What's today? Wednesday. So there is a show at 7:30 p.m. tonight. Macro, BTC, ETFs with Cade and Thomas. That one is it is a stream. That one is a stream. It'll be here on X and on YouTube here as well. So that will be a stream coming up. We've got a little bit of time before that one. Let me see. I got a comment over here. What does the Jenny say? This is what you mean when the people come out accusing you of being too bullish or too bearish, when all you said it was an interesting chart. People love putting words in your mouth. 100%, man. 100%. People get crazy. I'm just a chart enjoyer, man. I'm just a squiggle enjoyer. I don't really care if it's bullish, bearish. I can appreciate all charts, man. All charts matter. You know, all charts matter to me. All charts matter, guys. Every single one. I love them all. I appreciate them all. They all are beautiful to me, you know? Look, guys, I think we're going to wrap. I think we're going to call it there. I'm going to take a break for a few hours. I'll jump back on tonight, closer to 7 or 8 p.m. on my personal page. We'll pull up some more charts. We'll do a little bit more degen-y type stuff in the evening hours, you know, do a little more degen stuff. But we'll look at all that stuff tonight. We'll kind of continue the convo here. We'll see if by then we're getting this little bounce on BTC, man. I'd love to get this sweep before the end of the day in a reclaim. I just don't know if it's going to happen. But I'd love to see it. I would love to see this. But the clock is ticking. We've got, how much time have we got remaining on the day? Boom, 5 hours exactly to the second. You've got 4 hours of 59 and counting, baby. Let's make it happen, man. Let's make it happen. Let's get that sweep. Let's get that reclaim, and let's get a little short-term swing back up into the 70s. And then someone was asking me actually where I'd be looking to add to the short again if I given the opportunity. It's up there. It's up there closer to 72 to 74. I'd start to consider it potentially. So let's see if it can do some work. If it can do some work, hey, you know, we won't fight it. We'll let the chart tell us where we got to pivot. But with that, folks, you know what? Let's call it here. It's a great stream here with you guys. Great questions, good comments. These are the ones I like when y'all are making me think. Y'all are asking good questions. You guys are bringing up good subjects and topics to talk about. Appreciate you guys. Huge shout out to Public. Once again, public.com/wolf. Go check them out. Get your agentic portfolio going with Public. Make sure you get that agentic portfolio going, whether you're doing short-term or long-term strategies. Go check them out, public.com/wolf. And huge shout out to all the listeners, to the community, to all the people that support. Appreciate you guys. As always, like if you enjoy this type of content, if this is your vibe, man, if this is what you like, this is the stuff you like to put on in the background when you're working out, when you're working, when you're driving, when you're chilling, when you're when you're in the restroom trying to kill an hour. Like, if this is the stuff you like to watch, man, make sure you're subbed, make sure you're following Wolf Bitcoin, and make sure you're following my personal account at Bits of Wealth. Make sure you're liking these streams, like the posts, give it the thumbs up on YouTube. Make sure that you're reposting if you're a reposting kind of guy. Share it out, send it to your DM groups, invite your friends, man. Get people on these, because we need more people. Like, this is what we want to do. We want to onboard people through education. I want to onboard more people into these markets through education, and it's not to say that everyone's going to become a trader. It's not to say everyone's going to be playing all of this stuff, but I think more and more people are interested in crypto and finance and stocks and all this type of stuff. And I think education is a huge part of that. People need to know what they're getting into, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. People need to know all of that. And this type of content is what needs to be happening. So with that, appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys a little later on. Keep an eye out for all the different things coming out of Wolf Bitcoin, whether it's spaces, streams, trading content, macro, ETF stuff. Always something going on. So make sure you got those noties turned on, and we'll see y'all on the next one. Hey, mad love to you guys as well, man. Appreciate y'all. Peace.